And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at Galaxy Trucker. Now this is a new version of the original Galaxy Trucker. You'll notice the box is smaller, and that's pretty much it. This whole box is just a little bit smaller than this. This is not a review where I'm going to go over all the changes between the two. There's not a ton of changes. I'm just talking about the game itself because it's possible that you've never played Galaxy Trucker. Galaxy Trucker for sure is a love it or hate it game, and spoiler, I'm on the love it side of things. In this, you're quickly building a spaceship as fast as you can just to watch it get blown up, but you want to try to get it blown up a little bit less than everybody else. You know, it's a real-time game of sorts where you do something and then you see what happens to it. And this is how. The goal of this game is to score the most credits, and you're going to do that by building a ship. There's going to be a pile of tiles that are in the middle of the table. Each player is going to start with their center spot of your ship, which is a cabin already built, and you're going to play on whatever level you want. This is level 1. You can play level 2, which is a bigger ship, or you can play level 3, which is the biggest ship of all. Each level comes with a board that matches it. So this is the board for level 3. Here's the board for level 2, the board for level 1, and there's even a training board for when you're first learning how to play. Simultaneously, everyone is grabbing a tile, looking at the tile, and if you want to keep it, you can add it to your ship. Or there's a spot where you can keep 2 tiles that you can use later. But if you don't want to put it in your ship right now, you throw it back face up, everyone else sees it, and you grab another face down tile, and you keep going till you find one you want to add to your ship. When you add things to a ship, you'll notice the different connector pieces there. So this is a 3-prong connector. That connects to any other connector. It connects to a 3, it connects to the 2, and it connects to the 1. You are not allowed to have a connector go to something that's not connected. Everything must go back to the center connection, and you can't have a double prong connect to a single prong. You'll see those don't match up at all. Now you're going to build these as much as you possibly can. You do not have to close every open connector as you're building the ship. That's completely up to you, but you're trying to get different things in your ship. You like these because these let you carry cargo. There are these special radioactive ones, which are the only ones that carry red cargo, which is worth 4 points, while greens, yellows, and blues are 1, 2, and 3 points. They can go in any of them, but only reds can only go in this one. You want as many of these as you possibly can. You also probably want more cabins. Each cabin, once your ship is built, is going to have astronauts put into it. So you're going to put 2 astronauts per cabin. So you're always going to have at least 2, but you probably want more. So you're going to build as many cabins as you possibly can. You can upgrade a cabin by adding some alien life support on it. If you do, instead of putting in 2 crew members, you put in a single alien. The brown alien helps with engines, and if you hook it up with a purple life support system, the purple alien helps with guns. Speaking of guns, you can add guns to your ship, and they can face any direction, although it's usually best to put them pointing forwards. Now, guns can be single or doubles. Doubles won't work unless you have some batteries. The same thing is for engines. You have single engines, but it's possible to have double engines in your ship. Engines can have nothing directly behind them, and guns can have nothing directly in front of them. You want as many engines and as many guns as possible. You also have batteries. These are the things I was just talking about. Each battery, once you've built your ship, is going to have 2 or 3 batteries in it. And as the game goes by, you spend these batteries to activate your double engines or your double guns. You have sections like this, which don't really do anything, but they allow you to build a better structure and put more things out. There's also shields. Shields protect 2 sides of your ship. So this one would protect the front and my right. And I could make it go here to protect the back and the left. Shields only work if you spend batteries. So you need batteries for shields. And unlike all the other pieces, 2 shields are fine because you're just going to be you only need to protect 4 sides of your ship. The way the full game works is when you're playing whatever level you're playing on. So let's say we're playing on level 3. You're going to put out some cards. So here I'm going to put out 2 level 3 cards, 1 level 2 card, and 1 level 1 on each pile here and up here. These you can never look at. These players can look at any time they want, but while they're looking at them, they're not building their ship. And this matters because there's a timer. Now, the timer needs to be flipped over 3 times before everyone runs out of time. Anybody can flip over the timer. So you probably don't want to do it at the beginning of the game. You're too busy building your ship. But once this is over, and it's a full minute here, so once 3 minutes have gone by, then everyone has to stop building their ship. So here is my completed ship. This is a terribly built ship, but it's all I could do. Once that happens, you're going to take all the cards that were next to the board, shuffle them together, and go through them one at a time. Players are going to have their spaceships placed here on different spots depending on who finishes their ship first. So finishing it first is better for you. When you flip over the cards, everyone deals with them. When you have an open space card, you're simply going to look at how many engines you have. So let's say I'm the green spaceship and I have 1, 2, plus this alien, a brown alien, gives me 3 engines. I also have 2 double engines here, but they only work if I spend a battery. So I could spend 2 batteries for each, but I'll never be able to spend those batteries again. So that lets me move 5. When you move, let's say yellow moves 2 on their turn. Now I move 5. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I would land another ship, I just skip it. So we always move the first one forward, and this matters because when we're done going through all the cards, whoever is the farthest ahead is going to get 12 points, then 9, 6, and 3. You also have planet cards. When these show up, each player, starting with whoever's in the front, can decide if they want to stop at one of these planets and pick up those goods. They'll have to go back 1. So let's say yellow decides they want to pick up the 2 green goods. They would go back 1. And then I decide I'm not going to pick up any as the green player. Blue player says I'm going to pick up the yellow one. Each of these can only be taken by 1 player. You have ships to put on the card to notify that. As you take the cubes, you'll put them in open cargo bays, remembering that red cubes are the only thing that can go into those radioactive, that's the only place they can go. You can put any cube in one, but that's the only place a red cube can go. So those are some of the benign things that you might find. You might also find something like this, an abandoned ship, but you need to leave 3 of your astronauts on it. And if all your astronauts are off your ship, it stops working. But this gives you 4 points. And also costs a day to do so. And each person, so in this case, starting with green, they can decide whether they're going to do it or not. Combat zone has penalties. Whoever has the fewest astronauts goes back 3 days. Whoever has the fewest engines loses 2 astronauts. Whoever has the fewest guns takes 2 shots. You have meteors that will show up, and you have bad guys who, if you don't have enough guns, pirates, will shoot at you. When meteorites and shots come at your ship, they're going to come from different directions. They're going to usually affect everybody. Sometimes they affect 1 person, but you can affect everybody. You'll roll a pair of dice. So in this case, I rolled an 8. Everyone's going to look at column 8 if the shot comes from the front and it comes down. And depending on what it is, it's going to affect things differently. If it's a small asteroid, it's going to bounce off any completed side. So it would bounce off here, 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 here. But since it landed here, I have an exposed connector that would blow up. And I would take that piece and put it here for the end of the round. We're going to lose a point for each. However, every part of your ship has to connect to every other part of your ship. You'll notice that this whole section was connected through only that one part. So goodbye to the cargo, goodbye to the alien, and all those pieces also come off my ship, and I lose them all. Now, a big meteorite is going to, the small one's stopped as long as it's closed. The big meteorite's only stopped by a gun, which could be pretty handy. Small shots are only stopped by a shield, so this shield would stop a shot coming in from the front, but only if I have a battery to power that shield. And a large shot is not canceled by anything. Now there's always numbers that will miss, and you can see here now if I have a shot coming in from the front, a 9, 10, 11, 12 isn't going to even hit me. If I have a shot coming in from the side, if it's a 10, it's going to miss. If your ship is destroyed or you just run out and you can't go anymore, you're kind of off the board, so you're not going to get points for here, but you still might get enough points to win. Likely not. When you've gone through all the cards, and there's all different types of cards, I've shown you most of the main types, you'll score points for placement. Whoever has the most beautiful ship, which means they have the least exposed connectors on the outside, gets a bonus. You sell all your cubes for bonus, and then you lose a point for each part of your ship that got blown off. You will also have scored points from doing various things, like for example, if I help this abandoned ship, you add together your points, and whoever has the most points is the winner. Unless you're playing through all 3 ships in a row, in which case you just go to the next ship. There's a lot of tiles and pieces in this game. Now, the rule book, which is very well done, very well written, is very silly and lighthearted. I normally don't want my rule books to be funny, but I've always enjoyed the rule book for Galaxy Trucker. The original one was silly, so is this one. My only problem with the rule book is on page 2, they have a helpful component overview, which is not helpful at all since they call everything by the wrong names. I think they put that in there to be silly, but whatever. You're better off just going here to the actual component page. But they are well written, and having a tutorial with actual tutorial cards that are marked that you go through works extremely well. The cubes they're just plastic cubes, but they look really cool. Everybody always oohs and ahs over the little battery tokens and the little aliens. Everybody and the crew members, everybody likes those. The artwork works fine. I don't want to talk a lot about compatibility with the original one, except to say that everything here is slightly smaller than the original, so they're not compatible at all. Now, as I said at the beginning, this is a love it or hate it game, and it's definitely gone all across the board with that. I love playing this game. It's so much fun building the spaceship up, and you're doing it as fast as you can, and you want everything. You want a lot of guns, you want a lot of engines, you want, the rule book says, you want everything, and you're trying to build everything, but you're also trying to build connections, because it's really easy, as you saw in that example, to have a whole section of your ship come off if it's only connected by one point, which is really easy to do. And so there's that silliness, and then those cards. Now, you can look at the cards coming, some of them, so you can kind of see what you might need, and I've seen people do that. I rarely do that because I just don't take the game that seriously. The game is not particularly long, especially unless you play going through all 3 flights. But if you just go through one, it's a pretty short game. But it's also a very wild, crazy, chaotic game. I realized that going in. The one, and like I said, I don't want to go over all the rules changes. The one rule change here that I don't like is that in the original game, you could only lose so many points for each piece of your ship that came up. It might have a limit of 5 or whatever. Here, there is no limit, so it's very possible you'll end up with a negative score if you're not careful in this game. And the rules specifically say if you have 1 or more points, you win the game. It's just that whoever has the most points is the winnerist. That's kind of silly. Just whoever has the most points wins. That just is the best way to play it. And you have to go into this knowing that it's chaotic and watching stuff blow up. I don't appreciate this in a lot of games, but in this one, it's, to me, putting the ship together is fun. You look at it when it's done, you're like, look at that funny ship I built. And then as the cards come over, you're just like, here we go again, another asteroid. And sometimes you survive. It offers good choices. Do I want to stay on this planet to take extra resources, or maybe try to stay in the lead? Do I want to spend the battery on this shield, or do I want to just kind of let that piece blow up, save that battery for the guns, which I might lead later on? It's silly, and it's not for everyone. I just recently played it with my children. One of them liked it a lot, one of them didn't, because they said it was too chaotic. The other one felt pressured by the time. Neither one of those things bother me. I was like, woo, build the ship and go. Now, if you have the first one, you really don't. If you have this one, you don't need this one. There's not a lot of changes. There's a small expansion that there's a QR code to scan online, and there's a few minor changes, but it's not that big of a deal. There's a very good digital app for this that you can check out if you want to see if the game's worth playing. But if you've never gotten it before, I recommend you consider it. Again, it may not be for you, but if you're like me, sometimes a game is just so silly fun that I don't care about everything else. I love the aspect of building your ship and then just watching helplessly and amusedly different sections come off, or it survives, in which case you feel like, yes, I'm the greatest shipbuilder ever. It's good entertainment, and it doesn't take very long at all. I think most of the changes that they made, very minor streamlining changes, especially in this one, you only play one flight at a time, works really well. A nice tutorial. You're going to have a strong opinion about this game, I think, one way or the other. But for me, that strong opinion is funness. I'm Tom Vasel, and this is Dice Tower, and we've been taking a look at Galaxy Trucker. Dice Tower judgment, excellent.